Hi, mamas. Thank you so much for letting us join you again. I'm Celeste Howard with the Mom Collective. And today we just want to talk with you about UBU. And this is much easier said than done, as I think every girl ever can affirm too, those problems. So speaking of girl and girlhood, and when you think about just trying to be yourself, I think it brings back memories of your youth and growing up. Even though I think we're going to discuss that we struggle with that as moms as well, like trying just to stay in our lane and just be ourselves. But for our high-low today, I want to do a high-low from our youth. So we're going to go first, Liz. We were just talking about this. That's what brought the idea up.
I love it.
Well, I was raised in different decades from you guys.
And where did you grow up again?
Malibu Canyon.
Oh, so beautiful.
Just Malibu Barbie.
We ran
Malibu, California.
Free, yeah.
Malibu, California.
No, I'm sorry, Malibu Canyon, California. We ran free like banshees, and that was my high. I think I am the person I am today because we were allowed to just be free and explore. I find rules confining these days.
Yeah.
And it just, we were able to form our own person. So it was the best time of my life. Even I went to Catholic school. I went to Our Lady of Malibu. Don't make fun.
Shout out.
And we were allowed
I still again and again just think Malibu Barbie, and now Malibu Barbie has like a veil on.
We have Our Lady of Malibu.
Our Lady.
I like that.
But we were able to run free on that campus. It was all terrace.
so
we were
great.
crazy. But the low to that is I got in a lot of trouble. And so, so
Banshee isn't always a good thing.
No. And it really took me till maybe
Some of your
my
best memories, I'm sure.
Right,
Stories.
right. Here's what my junior and senior year of high school really. I learned discipline through sports, and so that reined me in, and I learned to follow the rules and be a team player and control myself. So yeah.
It all works out.
Beautiful.
It all works out.
Yeah,
So good.
sports.
All right, Pamela, we'll go backwards.
So that makes me think of my childhood. It would definitely be I lived right next door to my best friend to this day, Nicole.
So sweet.
Like in TV shows. And
is.
I always
Yeah.
picture
Write a
have
book
that,
about
like,
that,
neighbor
too.
No
that
wonder you
comes
love
in the back door, or like that little friend
It
that's always
was.
outside with the bike. I always wanted that.
Me
That's
too.
kind of how it was.
So
she,
sweet.
Actually,
would,
I'm a
like-
little jealous of
and
that.
she was my exact age.
Oh my
And then she had a little
gosh.
sister that was a year ahead or below my sister. So it was like
Fun
we would
childhood.
play outside all the time. Oh my gosh, funny story though. We lived on a golf course. So we would sell lemonade to the golfers on the golf course, which we weren't allowed to do, but they were so sweet to us, so they let us do it.
Fun.
Well, until us like 11, 12-year-old selves decided, hey, we probably can make more money if we sold beer, not knowing you can't sell beer. So we went to her mom's garage.
no, you didn't.
She really didn't tell a lot about me. But
That's
took
awesome.
a bunch of
Little
beer.
entrepreneurs that you are.
We sold it for like $1.50, so it was going hot.
the guys
I
were
mean,
like,
it
"Oh,
was
yeah."
going left and right. We
You're
made so much
subsidized.
money.
Yeah.
We come back. Her mom comes home, and we're like, "We did so well. Look what we
She's
made!" And
like,
she was like, "Wow, okay." And then she sees us coming in with our wagon and stuff, and goes. Yeah, she's Italian, so Chicago Towns, if anyone out there knows.
Oh, yeah.
You can imagine how that turned out. But
Yeah.
so she was not happy, nor was her dad. But we made good money.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, I think that's entrepreneurial.
That is very entrepreneurial.
You push the
I'm very
boundary and
impressed.
don't
Yeah.
realize it.
Yeah.
Then you just gotta rein it in. Rowena?
Well, okay, so looking back at my youth. So do you know what I really love? I don't get to do it anymore, but when I think of youth, childhood, preteen, whatever, I think of roller skating. Like
Oh, yeah.
That was
I
so
grew up
fun.
in Plano, Texas, and everybody met up at Thunderbird Roller Rink. Like it was like I remember. Do you know Thunderbird? Do you guys? Anyway,
That's just
No,
the
but I want
best.
to.
yes, and roller skate. I feel like it's never really gone out of style. I feel like it's forever a thing.
Yeah.
And so well, growing up, even after having my third son, I was a pretty good roller skater.
I bet.
I am excited. I'm excited to
I
get
wanna
back
go roller
on.
skating and
I
see you
have
sometime.
some really nice.
Do y'all
skates,
go?
Actually.
Do you take
You know, there's
So
roller
we've only gone
derbies.
for well, I'm not. So that's very competitive. I'd like to consider myself more like the figure skater, roller skater, right?
Yeah.
The dance roller skater.
Okay.
The disco.
Like the disco, almost like disco. I mean, I was a little younger than disco, but yes, just like the little roll roller skater with the cute jacket and the socks
Oh my
and all
gosh.
that. Yes.
Team outing next
But
one.
that's totally what I think of with childhood.
amazing.
And yeah, I mean, that's if I wasn't in school or and I was very athletic too. I grew up playing sports. But yeah, I guess always being active. But I guess, I don't know, what kind of a low is when you're a mom, you have these like hobbies and interests. And for those of us who grew up playing sports, you kind of have to let that go for a little bit to, focus on mother. I don't know. I'm kind of sad that I'm not skating. I have
roller
some
skater.
beautiful skates
interesting.
that I
You know
want to. It's a beautiful day right now. I want to go out and skate.
We're gonna
after
remind
this.
you.
You should.
I flash
And you
forward
should.
from
I don't know
roller
if I'm going to be
skating
able to do it or
scrapbooking.
Oh, okay,
know what I
good.
mean? Like-
you great.
I didn't see that one coming.
That's a lot.
I didn't see that one coming
That's
either. You wild banshee in the canyons of Malibu. You're really into scrapbooking.
Okay,
No, I wasn't. I got
thought
sucked
your,
in.
I thought your scrapbooking was your next like high, and I was having problems making.
No, that's a low.
But like
I'm
Pamela was
sorry
like,
if we're
did not
offending
see that
any
one
of these
coming either.
scrapbookers.
I am too. I'm so sorry.
It's so
It's 'cause you
funny.
had to be sedentary.
Okay,
You
just
don't
like
like
the
to sit
stillness.
still? No.
The stillness.
No,
Yeah.
no.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
But the product was beautiful.
Sure.
Okay, so this
so
is not going to
funny.
surprise anyone that knows me, but my high has nothing to do with physical activity or moving. So I grew up in a suburb of Washington, D.C. Such a city girl, not a country girl. I love people more than plants, like go on and on. However, I would love, actually, that's not really a however. So I loved the city and I would go downtown by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I knew the different homeless people by name. I
Wow.
knew the guy who played the trumpet on the little trifold.
Amazing.
I'd walk around. I was much more bohemian. I'd have a little daisy behind my ear, my skirt on, barefoot, like hang out by the. I would just sit and hang out by the Jefferson Memorial and journal. Then I would go to the art museum, like with my little hobo bag and not. Like, those like the style of the
Yes,
not
yes.
Like,
Yeah.
No, we understand. It's very much on trend right now. We know what a hobo
talking
bag
about
is.
like homeless. Never
Yeah,
mind.
she's like,
now I'm
please,
just all
I'm
sorts
not-
of politically incorrect commentary. Never mind.
That's why we're here at the Mom
Starting
Collective
again,
podcast.
starting
That's
again.
exactly why we're here.
Or I would go to like the art museum and like go to little docent tours and just stroll around and sit and stare at paintings and like read the little sheets they had on like the history of why they were done and just
You're so cultured.
I love that.
like I love it.
Yeah.
So like moving to Dallas was so hard because I'd walk in and be like, is there another room or another floor of this museum I had to just pay to get into? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's shocking because in DC everything's
There's
free.
nothing
It's
like it.
huge.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And there were
Yeah.
concerts on the this particular wing or in this East Wing courtyard. There was opera on Sunday, or the
Wow.
naval band would play on the lawn outside on whatever night. Like I loved that aspect of living
Yeah.
near a city, and I really miss it. And so one little, I'm going to segue here. You guys did not bring Elo into it, but I do think if we're thinking back to our youth, every mom or not, every woman can think back to the high school or elementary school ages, and who doesn't have like a crisis of conscience, like self-esteem hit, like where you're just unsure of who you are, feel like everyone's watching you every second, sometimes wish you were somebody else, feel like everyone else had it all figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you guys ever struggle with your self-esteem? Anybody?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Well, I just need a second to get really emotive here. Yes. Yes.
And it is, so I think like we work really hard to get comfortable in our own skin. And I think it helps when you get through high school and you start to have a goal for yourself and you start to figure out, like, I was the artsy, city person. You were the roller derby queen. You were Malibu Barbie.
Roller
and
skater.
You were the
Lost.
entrepreneur selling alcohol.
Selling alcohol. Selling booze. Yes, an underage. Wildly underage child.
But so you start to have goals for yourself, and through school, I think we start to fulfill some of those goals, and then you go to college, and you kind of think you're becoming more of who you're supposed to be, and then you get married, more of who you're supposed to be, and I think most of us start to feel pretty good about ourselves, and not in a prideful way, but just you're starting to say, okay, I can fit into this world that I've created. And like we talked about in the last episode, when you become a mom and you step into motherhood, it's a whole new world that you have not been physically and emotionally and mentally preparing for. Like you had this ideal in the word, but of what it was, but not what you looked like in that place. So today, in talking about UBU, is just how do we live as the people we are in the role of motherhood? Like, I don't know if that was hard for you, but it was really hard for me. Like, as I explained, like I liked to go, if you notice, the things I did were all by myself in very quiet, peaceful things. Having 7 children, less than 2 years apart each time, was not a quiet, peaceful environment. Like even in college, I discerned religious life. I'd always go to these vocational awareness days. And I still remember this one day. I think it was just my escape, kind of like it makes sense. It's safe. It's like God's there. It's peaceful. And the world was unpredictable and chaotic. And
For sure.
I'd get my feelings hurt from things, and this was just safe. So that was the wrong motive. But I still remember this one sweet old nun who would see me probably 4 times at these different like luncheons and things. And I'd ask all these questions. Just comes over to me. She was like, honey, you are not supposed to be a nun.
I love it.
Wow.
That's what discernment
That
is,
is
though.
what discernment is. And sometimes you need
your 7 kids.
you need to be like, sister, you were right.
You went and
Then
said
I just
that.
think of like God's sense of humor that I just love and like just receive so much from just that downtime. I love to do nothing. Oh my gosh, I love to do nothing. And then I just laugh. Like every time I was trying, I was like, really? Like this is like I could have borderline been a cloistered nun, and this chaos is what you decided to give me instead. But I'm so thankful because it did, it made me push up against the parts of myself that I didn't like, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I liked that I liked to be alone, but I didn't like how overwhelmed I would get at things. I didn't like how I didn't know what to do in social situations a lot. And I think that the retreat and that I like to be alone was a safe space. And I don't think the Lord wants safety for us. I think he wants freedom for
Interesting.
us.
Wow.
And when you have
That's
fear and you're trying to keep yourself in this very predictable, understandable way of life, you have safety, but he wants so much more. And I just want us to talk about that. Like, how have we had to kind of challenge ourselves, or how have we had to reexamine our definitions of ourselves and kind of wrestle with who we are and fitting into this role of motherhood?
Wow.
Again, shocking. You've affirmed a lot because I'm actually similar.
I'm just here for you, Pamela.
We're all here for you,
The
Pamela.
show. You guys are all
You guys are all here for
Me and
Pamela
my
as well.
desperateness for wanting her to start this podcast.
What a gift this
why.
is. This is your platform.
Yes, because
Use it, my friend.
I'm the same. I'm a very contemplative person, and while I'm a very social person, I can't just be social and not step away.
Right.
I'm like both. So I like being alone. Growing up, if I had issues, I would go by myself and sit in nature. Like even at the age of like drinking and vices, I had to think it through, and I like being alone. I like reading in my quiet time. So you're asking me like what I do. I'm actually in that stage of like, I don't know what to do. Like I want to know how you got through that, because I can't figure out a solution to that. But I am coming a little bit close to what you're saying as, no, because you're not meant to be like, there's a reason behind it. But I'm still in that newness of it, I guess, and that struggle where how do I keep my kids here and family so I can take time, because I need to recharge. I don't know what the right answer is yet. Like I'm still struggling with it.
I would say the beginning of any change is just to not be ashamed of it. Because I think when you hide from your struggle, or you think that you're the only one in it, it locks you down and it holds you captive, and you don't grow. So I think my husband was actually a big help on that with me, where he was like, it's not like everyone else is more heroic than you are. They aren't struggling with this thing. So I'd see people out there were like super social and always like chatty, or that didn't care if their kids clothes matched or kind of crazy. Like I'm very affected by my environment. I'm much nicer to my children if they look nice. Like we have a joke where I remember one time my son wanted something and my husband was just like, go do your hair and get changed if you want mom to answer well. Like, and that's fine. Like it just is what it is. And I think when you start not thinking I shouldn't, why do I?
Yes.
And lean into and just say, God, how? Like, how do I live this life, this motherhood as me?
Oh, that's good.
Then you start, like, you get more freedom in it. And just to, like, and to clarify, like, Pamela and I think we're both, like, you can be an introvert and you can like alone time and still be social. It does not mean that you know, if some moms are wondering, like, well, I like to go out, but then I need alone time. Like, it's the introvert extrovert is just how do you refuel? Like, I think you refuel by going out, getting out of the house.
Yes, I get energized. I get energized by a lot of adults interaction.
So the regular
just interaction.
Right. So like where I would seek order and consistency, and I want the same thing. I love a well-run day.
Yes,
Like,
I agree.
I think you are probably like get me out of the house.
Yes. So, okay. So much to say about that, but okay, I don't even know where to start. So
You can go
So
right
much
into
started
that.
to
Like,
unpack.
oh, sorry.
okay, I just want to highlight being the social person. I don't know if maybe I'm one of the more on the social side than everyone here. Community, like especially when you're in the thick of motherhood and you're feeling bad, feeling guilty, feeling alone, like nobody understands, like why don't I have it together like so and so? Why am I not able to do this as well as this person appears to be doing it? Reaching out for a mommy tribe. I'm going to call it a mom tribe. People who are in it with you and will profess and claim it's really not that easy and I'm really struggling and I don't like it either. And then just hearing that you're both coming from the same place. And then like the tribe that, you know, that gathers from just that same worldview, that same thought, that same struggle. I feel like that, like my sociability comes from knowing that I'm not alone. And whether it's professionally or personally or even just in the vocation of motherhood, I feel like I'm doing so much better knowing that like others have struggled before me or are struggling with me.
And everybody's struggle's different.
And everyone's struggle is different.
And that's good.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yes.
If we all had the same struggles, it would be easy. But yeah.
It's so much harder. Like we say this, but when you're in it, it's so much harder to like separate the two.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like how you're saying everyone struggles and everyone struggles different, and we're like, yes, yeah. I mean, it's true, but like,
yeah.
But then, in 2 days from now, I'll be sitting in church, and my son will be acting possessed, and I look over and I see the family of 8. And boys
everybody's
too,
just like so angelic
and just
and perfect.
angelic, and I'm like,
sharp in every way.
I'm like, they think I'm a terrible mom. Like that's where my head goes. Even though I know, like here in peace without him around, like
Right.
I know that's not right, but it's like,
Oh, I have nothing
know,
but
it's so
sympathy
hard.
for people with crying
Absolutely.
babies,
Yeah.
screaming
Absolutely.
kids.
Yeah.
thank you.
I have. It's a mixture of sympathy and amusement because
Because you're like been there, done that,
yeah,
right?
and you'll get there. You will. And I think, especially in a church, most people are going to have nothing but sympathy for you. And if they don't,
That's kind of their problem.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
It is, and it's funny
Yeah.
because you said church, and I use the church example, but in church it almost bothers me more. But when we're at a restaurant, if someone gives a look, I'm like,
yeah, really.
not the nicest. Like I
Yeah.
own it more. I'm actually like more
You were
like.
a kid once, honey. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm actually
You
more
were not
like
well
confident
behaved at a
in it.
restaurant.
Oh, that's
You
good.
were a
But
little
for
either.
some
That's
reason,
good.
like, and I don't know why that is. I just realized that as you're talking, if that's
Yeah.
just I guess too, you want your kids to be like have this relationship with God. Like that's my main goal. So maybe it's like I'm too hard on like I'm comparing my mothering.
Oh, my
abilities
friend,
of
they're-
that goal, the ultimate goal.
We
They're
are.
absorbing.
know?
They are absorbing. They watch you. I see you. You're very reverent, and they are watching you, and they see your reverence, and it'll click.
That you can admire someone and watch
Yeah.
them and not be acting like them. You know, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
you have different mentors or people in your life
Yes.
that like your kids look at you the same way. So you can
Yeah.
like you learn in so many different ways.
Right.
It's not
And how it
just-
lands, right, is unique to how you are, your temperament, all
Yep.
that kind of stuff. But being contemplatives, being like, like just it's the miracles that happen when you're just being present and being around and soaking it in. Like, saying earlier, I can't remember when you said it, like you act like you recall maybe, someone modeling it before you, and then it came out in a certain way in adulthood. I don't remember when we were talking about that. But I mean,
it does. Modeling is super, super important, and you're doing the right thing. Even though they're screaming, it doesn't matter. They're watching.
They're watching.
They're watching.
Yes. Yeah. And it's landing.
And I think
in a way that it's supposed to land for them.
And again, like that leaning into just being who you are. So if you show up to Mass and you pay attention and you're reverent and you are active in your faith, your kids will mirror that. And that's the way that God's going to have you teach your kids how to be into their faith. It's different than the person who is got the right books and doing this and getting the people in and organizing. Like if the organization and the crowd control is their way and their strength, that will bring their kids to where they're supposed to be. Like there's not one way to teach your kids. There's not. So it's coming the kind of that, like, again, all of us, like, I mean, I don't have little kids anymore, but I still struggle with really leaning into who I am. Like, and now that we're a little older, we have all these different events and things we go to, and we have more free time. Sorry, mom, people that are at home with little ones. But we do a lot more social, events. And I end up struggling with, I don't know how to make the right conversation. Like, do I seem interesting? So you're worrying about, am I being judged about being a good mom? And I'm thinking, or do people think I'm interesting? Do people think, gee, I thought she was really cool, but now she has nothing to say? Like, there's just, it's hard. Like, I think it's hard sometimes to be all of who you are. Like, I think all of us, like, it's funny, I was laughing that, like, Pamela and I talking about being introverted and kind of wanting this pull away time and this time to, how she gets alone time and that's great, or had a day by herself. And Rowena, I love that you're like,
I just need more and more people. I need more and more people around me. I need to grab, I need to grab people, take them with me. I need to be surrounded always.
Every time I listen to you talk, it exhausts me, by the way. Absolutely exhausts me.
So excited. So excited.
Honestly, I feel like I wish I were more like you.
I know, it's
wish
tough.
that I was the one that was always like, I wanted to be out and I always knew what to say to people and I had good stories. Like, I'm not loud enough to tell a story. Like, I'll try to like make a comment on something someone says and no one hears me. And I'm like, okay, like I am much more just a person who's present. And I just think that it's hard to want, if you look at the best of playlist from everybody, like we don't live in a traditional real live neighborhood we know all our neighbors. We've been on the same block with our cousins and this and that. Or I think of like movies you watch where, people know the person on every street, or a lot of the movies are like Jesus time frame, which like I know I'm jumping back thousands of years now, but like you knew everybody on the street and like you see their laundry out front and you see the trash, so you know what they ate. Like, you know everything. You don't just know what they showed up to do and how they want to present themselves. And I think today we talk about
or like the highlight reel.
I was just going to say, or the post.
Yes.
Or the small parishes. I miss that so much. The neighborhood parishes.
Oh yeah.
And they and
where you see people struggle as well.
And you
get
help
close.
them
And you know about it
them
and you roll up your
inside.
sleeves and you get in there too.
Yes.
And you get in there too.
It's sad that we don't have that anymore.
And I think that, like, while we don't have some of the community like Rowena was talking about, and it's really hard, like even when you were telling people, I wanted to kind of mention, depending on where you live listening to this, like you might not have this great community around. Like when I first started having kids, I didn't know anyone else with children. And I joined the local moms group at our parish, but it was all people that worked full time or that didn't really want their kids and had nannies. Yeah. And that's completely valid, but there wasn't people that met my heart and could reaffirm the things that I was struggling with. And it actually made me feel worse because I was like, I guess I'll go on a walk during the day by myself because everyone else is multitasking and I can't even just do this one thing. Like, and it was really hard. So that's another reason, like, why we want to be here for you. Like, we want to talk about these things because this is not a unique struggle. That is, it's personal and it's very necessary, but it's something it's a rite of passage. Everyone goes through it. And we continue. Like, I mean, Liz, like every phase of motherhood we go through, you walk into the next one, you're like, well, don't know how to do this. Like, the young adult.
That was
young adult-
another fail.
So something that you just said that I think myself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the audience would want to know, is when you just described that situation, what did you do when you weren't finding the community? Like, what the people out there who
And it
are
made
in
you-
your
yeah, that
shoes
made you
right
feel
now?
worse.
Well, I think
what did you do?
nowadays, like one of the, like we often ditch, people like to rip on social media, but that is one good thing. Like you can go to Facebook groups, you can go on Instagram and find like people that have, like I'm not a big Instagram scholar, but I'm trying to get more aware as we do this. But there's so many people that have a bunch of kids and they're showing up with like all their like loving their kids. So you don't feel bad about loving your kids while everyone else might be complaining.
Yes.
I tended to just have to pick up, like I really, really was miserable for probably the first 3 years. And had to do like a build it, they will come sort of mentality. Like if I started a prayer group probably 23 years ago.
Wow.
It's still going on.
I love
once
that.
a month. It's evolved in its ways, but because I knew there were good people around.
Yeah.
But there wasn't this organic place we all met because some lived far away, some had kids, some didn't, some taught, some worked at, corporate. So I just started a prayer group on Saturday mornings, was like, I'll get donuts. You guys want to come over? Because I had, an apartment, which turned into evenings. And then it's turned, once kids had soccer practice, it went back to really early mornings. Like it's kind of changed and we've done different things with it. A friend of mine started a couples Bible study with a bunch of us because instead of saying, oh, the church doesn't have this or, oh, we don't already doing this, just saying, hey, guys,
it upon yourself.
I have
I love
a formed
it.
app. Let's go in. Let's just start doing these different things. And we've done that for probably 10 years.
That's so great.
I wanted fellowship for I homeschooled my 7 kids. I just homeschooled them up till high school. But I remember wanting friends and that could be a drawback, like why you wouldn't homeschool. But we moved to a new neighborhood. We didn't know people that were close by. We had one other family that had a bunch of kids in homeschool, but we didn't see them that often. And I just remember thinking I almost put my kids in school just to be able to make friends,
Yeah.
which is it's a
this is what I'm
bonus.
dealing with now.
It's a bonus.
Yeah.
Which is
Still a valid
Yeah.
effort,
It's tough.
I think.
Yeah, but that's not the reason why you go to school. Like
Right.
I think school's great. Like going to school or being homeschooled, it's whatever brings out the best part of you as a mom. But so I remember just being like, I can do something for friends. So I knew people again in the area, all within a 30, 45-minute range. And I just started like little flowers groups for girls. And I would host a little girls group once a month. And I did that for all 4 of my girls. Then as they got older, I led confirmation for them because I wasn't a fan of some of the confirmation programs out there. The church let us come in as a group. Those girls now many of them are like, well, of my older daughters, they're married. Some are single, but they now get together and they've started their own Bible study.
Wow.
Amazing.
Like you kind
Beautiful.
of
How it kind of just
Your yes was multiplied.
spreads. Yeah, how
I
it
was
spreads like
gonna say, as
wildfire.
an introvert,
So
that is very
Okay,
non-introverted.
Right.
That's amazing.
To spur a movement like
Yeah.
that, right?
That's funny you say that.
But I think it's because you have the energy to go find it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't. And I like that
create.
if I created it, I kind of could control what it
Yes.
was. And I was comfortable there.
That's
I was
fine,
comfortable.
Celeste.
Which makes
That's who
you
you are.
a fabulous
But
host,
people
by the
People
way.
to
By the
create
way.
things
Yes.
because then I don't
Right.
need to go
There was a
somewhere
hunger.
else
Right.
and figure out how to fit into that situation
Yeah.
and what to say. If I'm hosting, I can just leave and go make something if I have to, or check
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
something in the oven. So those
Now
of
we
you
know
who
when
are
we're at
trying-
Celeste.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
what she's really up to.
We know what she's doing.
We thought she was just checking on the roast, but actually
We're bored.
she's feeling quite uncomfortable and unhappy in this
Thanks for that,
situation.
Celeste. Yeah.
But really, I think the biggest thing, like that's kind of coming up, everyone's different. Everyone's wired differently. There's not one way to do it. I think the biggest thing is just that is a constant thread is just being ashamed of certain parts of ourselves that we think should be differently.
Amen.
But I remember praying on that, and the Lord. It's a very pro-life psalm, but Psalm 139. A lot of people know that one, but it's just like, Lord, you've made me together in my mother's womb. You know my inmost being. You know when I sit and I stand. You know my thoughts from afar. But he also just says, like, you know a word, before a word is on my tongue, oh Lord, you know the whole of it. The fact that he knows what we're going to say before we say it, that he knows what we're thinking before the thought truly comes to us, means that our thoughts, our words are what they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's not surprised by them. We might try to pretend that they aren't there, try to wish them away, but he intends us to be as we are. So I really continually, I am much older than y'all are, but like we're more similar, Liz and I, but I still struggle with that, unfortunately, wanting to write my own script, wanting to write my own character, analysis. But I remember the Lord just showing me, like, if I wanted to not, struggle in a social situation or not get easily overwhelmed by all the noise sometime, well, then that's the flip side of the fact that I am incredibly perceptive. I'm very sensitive to my environment, which means I can cultivate, like I was able to raise my kids in a very like abundant, like not, there weren't like these hard lines. Like I still remember my kids one time were asked like if they had a bunch of rules, if they had a lot of rules, and they told people no.
Oh, wow.
And like, okay, if you know
What a
my family,
testament.
we homeschooled. It was Christian music only until they got to high school. No one got a phone until they're 16.
I remember, doesn't
They
Flip
couldn't
like
go-
even check like the lyrics to songs that they're listening
kids would be
to?
listening to
Right,
music, and we
right.
literally will pull up the lyrics. This is really embarrassing for them. And if they like were fighting to listen to a song, and we'll just read it like monotone at the dinner table, all of the lyrics to them.
Can you imagine?
No.
We were like,
I might steal this.
I know.
That's
That's
even
a good.
read
That's
the
a
lyrics.
good.
I just kind of sing along.
You kind of just sing along.
just to be intentional. So, but like, I would
Yes.
have to like, are you like, yes, you may wish that you didn't need to always get out of the house and word stir crazy. You might wish that you could be, we didn't even really get into this, but I know like struggling with getting out of the house on time or doing things like that. You might wish that you were more present to your kids. I mean, the list goes on, but realized there's a flip side to all of them. Like, are you willing to sacrifice? Like, Lord, take this from me, but then the whole picture, like, are you willing to sacrifice your intentionality with your kids and the fact that you're really present? So if you have a hard time getting out the door and being on time, it's probably because you didn't plan 5 steps ahead. You were just in where you were right then. And I'm not saying don't come up with strategies and don't try to be on time. I'm just saying don't feel the shame of it. Don't
Because there was
beat
something
yourself up
good
about
too
it.
that happened.
If you want, like Rowena, if you struggle with like feeling bad about yourself because why can't I just be satisfied just being home right now?
Right.
And why can't I just really enjoy organizing my closet
Right.
or
Just sit
whatever
still
it is?
and be like alone
Well,
in a
then-
project.
But
right.
you would sacrifice like the things that I love about you, like
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
sparkle
Yes.
and your
Yeah.
energy and
Yes,
telling
to make
stories
people
and-
feel good.
and all of that. And I would never want you to, lose your presence with your kids, to lose your sparkle. I would never want to lose my ability. Like I watch my children. Like I wasn't really a leader as much that charged out and ahead of them. I considered like motherhood like a cultivation where I watched them and I would like enable their environment and put these different moments in front of them. Like that was my charism. And to ask the Lord to rid me of my social awkwardness sometimes or not knowing what to say or my inability to tell a story and to be that leader, to be that person who tells the stories and is like fascinating, I would be sacrificing like the best part of who I am.
Yeah.
And you can't pick and choose. This isn't, like there's
Yes.
like whole pieces. And I think most of us, if you really look at the things that we like the most about ourselves and flip it over, it's going to be exactly what causes the things that most frustrate us. about
Interesting.
ourselves.
That's so good.
Interesting.
Yep.
That's so good.
This is a good journal entry.
Good
Right.
meditation. Yeah.
Good meditation for sure to like look at the hard stuff.
Look at your favorite things.
Right.
And for some of us, sometimes if you're in a place where you can't even do that, post whatever, ask those around you. What's their favorite thing about, like your husband or
Wow.
your
Talk about
mom, or
accountability.
you,
Wow.
someone close, your sibling. Like, what's their favorite thing about you?
That's sweet.
And then see what you said, because sometimes other people can see what we can't see,
Right.
depending on where we're at.
Just reflecting on yourself and being honest with yourself. It's okay to be honest with yourself. It's all right. We're not perfect.
Right.
That's so hard.
It's hard to, it's hard to look at
Honesty.
our setbacks. It really
It
is.
is.
Not to
It is,
over
but-
focus on the negative sometimes too.
Yeah.
You know, I think
Yeah, you don't want it to
sometimes,
be debilitating.
like our worksheet and our work list is the negative thing. So I think that's what we
Yeah.
tend to look at.
But that's
there's-
why I always love the hope of the next day. There's
Mhm.
always the next day, and you can get up every single morning and we could
fitting.
try again.
and like
Yeah.
and to think too, like we are God's children, and we talk so much about our kids, and I'm sure the more conversations we have, and your conversations that you have with your friends, is extending grace to your kids and just forgiving them, and like they can try again tomorrow. Like we are at the core, before we are wives, before we are mothers, before we are friends, we're daughters of God, and
Yeah.
with all of our, like, the things that we're proud of, the things that we wish we did differently that we're not so proud of, he knows the whole of it. And I really just encourage all of us, myself and you, like our new friends, like to come to that, come to the Lord with that, lean in, rest on him. And you can share with him your joys and your struggles and your defeat and your frustration. And like a good father, he will encourage you, and he will speak that to your heart and give you the strength to be his child, to live as his perfect creation, and to use the gifts and talents and the struggles to come closer to him and to bless your family and the world around you.
Amen.
So,
Wow, Celeste, thank you. So beautifully said. Thank you. Ladies, thank you. Thank you for, I mean, what a gift to be able to like learn and grow and discuss. And yeah, I mean, it's what a gift. But thank you.
you.
All y'all, thank you for joining us. We know you're busy. Let us come to you. And if you like what you're seeing on YouTube, please subscribe. And if you're on Spotify as well, follow along, please.
Or you can find us throughout the week and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or at themomcollective.org.
And if you know anybody who might be blessed or encouraged by this conversation, please introduce us to them.
And until we meet again, just remember you were handpicked for this. So lean in. Till next time. Bye.